Hey guys, it's Tim and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on what's today's date? 15th of April, 2022 to talk about everything that went down tonight on both AEW Rampage and WWE's Friday Night Smackdown. I tell you guys all the time, if it's a live edition of Rampage, I will review it. People ask all the time, why don't you review Rampage? Why don't you review Rampage? Well, because 99% of the time, nothing really major happens on Rampage, but if they're live, that means they're most likely an important episode like tonight, so I'll review them, and that's what we're going to talk about first here tonight, AEW Rampage. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here, twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and twitter.com/PWU Unlimited. Remember, if you are watching on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Remember, if you have Amazon Prime, whether that's for the Prime Gaming, whether that's for the Prime Video or the Prime Shipping, which they're all lumped into one now anyways, then you can technically have, Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming, it's very simple to do. Take your Amazon Prime account, you take your Twitch account, you link them together, bada bing, bada boom, you're Prime Gaming. With Prime Gaming, you get a lot of cool things like free games. I think one of the free games right now is Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. You also get free stuff for games like Grand Theft Auto Online, Valorant, Madden 22. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Madden 22. Why am I blanking? I know those. Fall Guys and New World and so forth. And so you get all that stuff, but you also get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you subscribed right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But on the flip side, if you're watching over on YouTube, you can help us out over there as well with a super chat or a super sticker donation. Remember, all super chats do get read live on the air. Plus, remember, you can hit that join button down below to become a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access to podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. But if you say, yeah, but that means I'm giving YouTube my money, and I don't want to give YouTube more money, what I'm going to do is tell you go to Patreon. Patreon.com/PWU Unlimited. Head over there. Well, you can get a lot of cool things. You get the early access to news, early access to podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos. You get Photoshop and After Effects files for wrestling, mostly WWE and AEW custom graphics that I make, and so forth. And finally, if you're going to buy anything on the Epic Game Store, well, use our creator code if it will load. There we go. Use creator code PW Unlimited. When you're on the Epic Game Store and you're about to check out, on the right-hand side, it's going to say, do you have a creator code? And you do. It's PW Unlimited. Whether you're buying a new game, an old game, or even claiming one of the free games, it'll ask you for the code, and you can put that in there. Or if you're playing Rocket League, Fall Guys, or Fortnite on your PlayStation, playing Rocket League and Fortnite on your PlayStation, Switch, and Xbox, you can do this. Or if you're playing Fall Guys on your computer or your PlayStation, you can also use this code in the item shop. But with that, we've got AEW Rampage to talk about. Let's load up those notes. Let's talk about that. Let's get going. To be honest, other than the main event, I didn't really care for this Rampage. It's really just a Rampage. I mean, the opening match was fun-ish. Nothing spectacular or special. It was exactly what I assumed it was going to be. Just a showcase match for the BCCs. The BCC, John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, and Wheeler Yuta, taking on the Gun Club, Austin, Colton, and Billy. So Regal came out with Yuta, but immediately went to commentary. Everybody in the BCC made separate entrances, while the Gun Club was introduced as already being in the ring. And when they do that, which they did that twice tonight, actually, no, 3 times tonight, you know who's winning. I mean, we knew who was winning going into this, but still, Still. Yuta started off the match with Austin Gunn, and the crowd was immediately chanting for Yuta. While Austin got a bit of an advantage, the crowd chanted, "Ass boys." This was, throwing him off his game a little bit. Colton got the tag, and I didn't know Colton's the older brother. Because they said at one point, Austin, the younger of the Gunn sons. And I go, oh, I always thought Austin was older because they've pushed him more. I don't know. We've seen more of Austin. Austin got on that E-Channel show. So I'm like, I always thought Austin maybe was just the older brother. No, they said Austin, the youngest Gunn son, the youngest of Billy's sons. And I was like, oh, okay. Colton got the tag, and Yuta avoided his dropkick attempt and locked in an Indian deathlock. Danielson got the tag and continued to work over Colton's leg, twisting it in an inhumane way, some may say. He then locked Colton in a Romero special. The crowd went nuts. Danielson then adjusted his grip on Colton and landed some solid forearms on Colton's face. Colton escaped and tagged his father. Billy Gunn went face to face with Danielson, and Danielson avoided Billy's splash in the corner, then laid in some kicks and a running drop kick in the corner himself. Billy then came out of the corner with a back elbow, and the show went to a break. Back from the break, Colton hit a pretty bad drop kick on Danielson. Austin got the tag and charged into a step over toe hold that sent Austin headfirst into the middle turnbuckle. Moxley got the hot tag and destroyed everybody. He dropped Colton with the half and half suplex and took out Austin with a back elbow. Moxley then hit a suplex on Colton and then a DDT on both Gunn brothers. Billy then got the tag and ate a King Kong lariat with a 360 sell from Billy. Always still gets me when I see Billy do stuff like that. I'm like, he's old, he's big. Like, not big in the sense of like Billy Gunn doing stuff like the 360 sell and all that, like when you get clotheslined really hard and you do the 360 flip around, and I'm always just like, Billy Gunn doing that? Holy crap, that guy's like super tall and super jacked. But now that he's old too, I'm still like, Jeez. But anyways, regardless, Yuta tag didn't hit a crossbody for a near fall. It was a Busaku knee on Colton, but Billy took out Danielson and Moxley with a double clothesline. This then left Billy alone in the ring with Yuta. Yuta hit a Cobra Clutch slam. Billy hit a Cobra Clutch slam on Yuta, but it only got a 2. At one point, Billy went to like slap Yuta, and Regal goes, yeah, I know how hard those shots from Billy are. I'm glad I'm not the one taking them anymore. Billy set it for a Fame-Asser. Yuta dodged it and rolled up Billy with an O'Connor roll and bridged it to get the 3. Interesting finish there with the O'Connor roll. I thought that was kind of I wouldn't say lame finish, but interesting and different than what you would think for the BCC. You would think they would go for some sort of like devastating hard move or a submission type deal. Like where they would want to either make their opponent tap or hit him with a move so hard that it would make him knock out. You know what I mean? So, interesting call there. Like I said, the match was fun for the most part, but it was just kind of a match. Nothing special. Next up, we had Sean Spears on commentary as the Butcher came down to take on, I think they said Baron Brown, maybe Baron Black. I'm not sure exactly the name they said. This went 49 seconds, and it was just a showcase match for the Butcher. Nothing really happened. It was unadvertised, and he powerbombed him. Sold some chops and whatnot. And yeah, this was a nothing happening, what the hell match. From the back, Dustin Rhodes cut a promo saying that he knows his feud with Lance Archer isn't over, but he's got other things to take care of. He's got a bucket list match that he's always wanted to have, and now he thinks this is a dream match fans would love to see. And I'm like, really? Huh? Don't just CM Punk and they go, what fan is sitting here going, I'd really love to see CM Punk take on Dustin Rhodes. That's a dream match for me. I mean, I'm not saying nobody has ever said Dustin versus CM Punk would be interesting in AEW. I'm not saying nobody, but I'm saying most probably have never even thought of it, fathomed the idea. I know I've never even thought of it. I never once thought, CM Punk, Who can he face in AEW? MJF, done. Darby, done. Well, I'd like to see Dustin. I've never thought that. I've never thought that once in my life. He challenged him to a match next week on Dynamite, and, well, that match was announced later in the show. Next up, we had a match that went 8.5 minutes, and boy, can I tell you nothing in this match, because this was a nothing happening match. Nothing happened in this 8.5 minute Ruby Soho Robin Renegade match, other than Twin Magic. Soho tried a head scissor in the corner early while locking Renegade. But no, a handstand while locking Renegade in the head scissors. I read two sentences backwards. Damn dyslexia. Anyways, Renegade escaped and kicked Soho in the head. And then they just went back and forth. Literally, I was so bored with this, I didn't really even get many notes. At one point, Robin Renegade was sent headfirst into the middle buckle. Robin turned Soho, thumbed her in the eye, and dropped to the floor. With the referee checking on Soho's eye, she switched out of the ring with her sister Charlotte. I didn't even know there was a Charlotte Renegade. I've heard of Robin Renegade before, but I've never heard of a Charlotte Renegade. Soho went for the senton off the top, and it was funny. This commentary goes, I bet you by the time Ruby jumps off that top rope, she's not going to be there. And then she puts the knees up, and they're like, well, that works too. Anyways, she gets the feet up or whatever. Soho managed to to come back and hit a no future on Charlotte, but then she rolled out of the ring, and Robin snuck back in on the other side. Robin caught Soho with from behind with a cradle for a near fall. Soho hit the original sister with a neck breaker, kind of like a crossroads, and pinned her. There's a nothing happening, lame duck match. This match sucked. And the Twin Magic stuff, get it out of here. Get it out of here. This is when they announced officially CM Punk versus Dustin Rhodes. We also learned next week it will be Daniel Garcia versus Eddie Kingston, but nobody's allowed at ringside. Nobody from the JAS, nobody in Kingston's little group, Santana or Ortiz. Hey, bruh, what's your name? Bruh from Isle, I guess. I think that from an Isle. Says Ruby's AEW run has been a snooze. I wouldn't go as far as to say a snooze, but it has not been anything good. To be honest, Ruby Soho and AEW has not kicked my socks off. Ruby Soho and AEW has not done anything for me. When it was announced that Ruby was signing with AEW, everyone was like, oh my God, Ruby, she's going to really energize this women's division and give it the change it needs. Boy, is that the opposite. I mean, people are going to be mad at me right now, but Ruby, what is going on? I mean, her first 4 matches in AEW were all not good matches. And you can't say, the Jamie Hayter match wasn't good because Jamie Hayter. Well, then she took on other people and they still weren't good matches. So it's like, Ruby in AEW hasn't done it. And this might be a controversial take, but I'm going to agree with Bruh from an Isle. I'm not going to go as far as say it's been a snooze because she's got really good charisma and she's got really good stage presence. But as far as match quality does go, I mean, we've seen her do more on Dynamite as far as holding back Eddie Kingston in the back and calming him down than we've seen her have good matches in the ring. Just going to say it right now. Then we had a 20-minute main event. It was the AEW World Title on the line as Hangman Page defending against Adam Cole in a Texas death match. This match was good. So before the match starts, they do the normal. Oh yeah, Gabriel, I forgot to mention that. Also, Jade Cargill will defend the TBS title next week against Marina Shafir on Dynamite. That match is going to be. I might watch just to see how bad that match is because Jade, she needs people that can carry her, and that ain't Marina Shafir. Mark Henry does his normal thing, hyping up the match with the 2 challengers before, and then he actually says, this is the biggest match in Rampage history, and it is time for the main event. And I think he's not wrong. When you think about the biggest matches in Rampage history, it's either this or Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega. And Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega was a really good match. This was a really good match. I think now, when you look at it on paper, you would say this is maybe the biggest match because it also had the death match, the Texas death match rules. When you look at what was the best match, I think I would just go with the biggest match thing because this was a world title match and Texas death match all in one. Justin Roberts reminded us, because I always forget, the way to win this match is by knockout or submission. Like I say, I always forget that when they do these Texas death matches. They've only done 3, but to be honest, I feel like they used... Honestly, I thought this could have been like the 6th or 7th. Because the way they say... I just felt like they've done this so many times. Texas death match. But I mean, I guess they've done Texas death match, and they've done the lights out matches and the no DQ stuff. So I mean, it's all the same, other than the knockout submission thing. So Page comes down to the ring and he throws some chairs in. Both men grab a chair and they start swinging and missing before Page lands a shot on Cole's back. The fight went to the floor where Cole got a chair, but Page booted the chair in Cole's face. Also, hold on. Back to the Mark Henry thing for a second. I want to mention something. So in WWE, we didn't really hear Adam Cole refer to himself much, if any, to Adam Cole, baby. Right? Like, we do the entrances and go, Adam Cole, baby, you know. But now that he's in AEW, it's kind of weird because he's like, you know, Adam Cole, baby here. He's going to beat you. Like, when he talks himself in third person, he always has to say, like, it's story time with Adam Cole, baby. Like, are you Seth freaking Rollins now? It's kind of getting old and annoying and dumb. Like, it's cool sometimes when you go, you know, Adam Cole, baby. But the way he just says it all flowing together as is his name, when he goes, Adam Cole, baby. Like, story time with Adam Cole, baby. Or tonight he said something where he's like, yeah, you're not the better Adam. I'm the better Adam. I'm Adam Cole, baby. And I'm just like, all right, so this is like a Seth freaking Rollins situation where you got to get the baby in, just like you got to get the freaking in with Seth. I don't know. A little nag, I guess you could say. Nitpick. There's the right word. Nitpick. Anyways, like I said, they were brawling on the floor. Cole gets the chair booted into his face. They continue brawling at ringside. They brawled into the crowd, and Page continued to dominate. Page got a beer from a fan, which was also a sealed aluminum bottle, and hit Page over the head with it, and then he took a drink. So I'm like, ooh, they're going to reimburse that fan? Not probably an $8 beer at a stadium or at a venue. Curtis Colwell Center. Probably $5, $6 beer. That fan just lost. Anyways, Cole went back to the ring and Page stayed on top of his opponent. More domination. Page went to the top rope with the chair and hit a moonsault onto Cole while holding the chair. Looked like Cole tried to kick it in his face and missed, so yeah, they did the moonsault thing again later. Page then sent Cole headfirst into a chair wedged into the turnbuckles. Cole was then bloodied on the floor, not really sure where that came from, and made it to his feet before the 10. Page then dropped to the floor and continued to dominate, and the show took a split picture break. Back from the break, Cole sent Page headfirst into the stairs, and the fight went back into the ring as Cole lowered the boom on Page. Cole hooked up a chair hooked a chair to the top rope and used it to literally clothesline Page. Cole set up a pair of chairs, but then Cole was thrown on top of the chairs back first in the fireman's carry. Page then dropped to the floor and threw more chairs into the ring. Cole caught Page with the boot and went for the Panama Sunrise, but Page countered into a Deadeye. Cole got to his feet at 9 by rolling to the floor. That's always a smart move in these kind of matches. But you're out, and you fall to the floor and you grab the top rope, so you just kind of keep Always a smart move. Always smart. I always like that one. When they slide themselves out of the ring and then they hold onto the top rope so they're still standing up, but they're like holding themselves up. I've always liked that. Back in the ring. Oh, wait, no. Page went for the moonsault. Here we go. Page went for the moonsault to the outside, and Cole super kicked him into the face. Cole got in the ring, demanded the referee count, and Page got back in at 7. They started fighting when Cole went for the Panama Sunrise. So we got to talk about this Panama Sunrise. So Cole goes for the Panama Sunrise, and he hits it. And Page does the flip over, but when Page does the flip over, he lands chin first on a chair and busts his whole chin open. Page then did get to his feet by 9. Bleeding all from the chin. At first, when I saw it, he had blood like up here. And I'm like, oh, is he bleeding from the mouth? But then you start seeing more and more and more here. And I'm like, oh, no, he really knocked his face on that chair and busted himself in the chin. Cole took Page to the top and looked like he was sitting up for a super Panama Sunrise, but Page fought out and took advantage. He hit a follow-away slam from the top onto a pile of chairs. Page then... nope, I wrote that wrong in my notes. Crowd started chanting, "This is awesome," as Cole did beat the count. Page then sat down in a chair to go for the buckshot, but Cole kept grabbing his jeans to keep him in the ring. Page then sat down across from Cole at one point. He put Cole on a chair. He then sat down next to Cole, and they started slapping each other. There were soon some more exchanges with chairs and boots and super kicks. Page jumped out to set up for the buckshot, but Page was hit by a super kick. Cole screamed at Page, quote, "You will never be me. You will never be Kenny Omega. You are a joke." Page responded by absolutely unloading on Cole with a nasty-looking buckshot lariat. Page then used his belt to tie Cole to the top rope. Page then found a chair with barbed wire. This was weird. I don't know why they did this spot. This is the one awkward moment of the match. So he ties Adam Cole to the top rope, I guess, just so he couldn't come after him while he started digging for something under the ring, and he finds a chair with some barbed wire taped to it. He threatened to use the chair, but then put the chair down and just untied Cole. That was the one, what spot? Huh? That was the one part of the match that got me to go, huh? Why tie him up and then not really do anything with him being tied up other than, I'm going to tie you up, then I'm going to go dig under the ring for something, not use that something and then untie you. That kind of was weird. Page pulled some of the barbed wire off and wrapped it around his arm. Cole hit a super kick, and Page rolled to the apron. Cole went for the Panama Sunrise on the apron, but the barbed wire struck. But Page struck with the barbed wire with a lariat. Page then put the barbed wire on Cole's head like a crown and put Cole through a table on the floor with a dead eye, which I never even saw when the table got set up, to be completely honest. Was it when he was digging for the chair, maybe? I don't know, but all of a sudden there was a table there, and he does the dead eye off the apron, through the table with the crown of barbed wire on Cole's head. Cole does not make it to his feet, and there we go. Adam Page gets a huge pop from the crowd, and it looks like we're full steam ahead now. Adam Page, CM Punk going into Double or Nothing. Looks like that's going to be the route they go. Punk keeps saying, hey, I want the belt. I want the belt. Double or Nothing's coming up. Next pay-per-view. Adam Page done with Adam Cole. So now I think, well, it's time. Start slowly building up to Adam Cole, or Adam Page and CM Punk. So, I mean, honestly, other than the main event, you didn't miss much if you didn't see this show. The opening match was fun-ish. And I say ish because it was there was a couple cool spots by all three guys at the BCC, but other than that, it was just a match. Nothing special happened in this match. And then the finish kind of left me like, oh, okay, that's it. I guess that's a technical kind of move. But yeah, that was AEW Rampage. But as we get going here, let's check the polls to see what you guys thought of tonight's Rampage. We got 3 of them. We got Twitch, we got YouTube, we got Twitter. Let's check them right here. As far as the Twitch poll does go, 100% like tonight's Rampage. That's really good. Really good to hear. Not many people voted, though, so. As far as the YouTube poll does go, it's a good one. 66.7% liked it. 26.7% thought it was just all right. And 6.7% did not like Rampage. As far as the YouTube poll does go, 76% liked it. 20% thought it was just all right. And 4% did not like Rampage. With that, now we got SmackDown to talk about. So let me run the poll for SmackDown as well. Let's see. New poll. Actually, let's end that one. New poll here. What did you think about tonight's I liked it. It was all right. I didn't like it. All right, start that poll. Same poll on YouTube. And before we talk about SmackDown, we do have some dark match stuff we got to talk about too. All right, and throw the poll up on Twitter as well. What did you think of tonight's SmackDown? So interesting, no Roman. No Roman Reigns on tonight's SmackDown either. All right, so before SmackDown went on the air tonight, we saw LA Knight, but not the wrestler LA Knight. We saw the new manager LA Knight. LA Knight appeared in a dark match prior to tonight's SmackDown as the manager of Mace. Yeah, the manager of Mace. And let me go on Twitter and see if I can pull up a photo here. And now I don't have too many details on this right now, but we do have this image here. I'm going to pull up on the screen. Let's see. Wrong. We do have this image here. LA Knight as the manager of Mace. I mean, hey, at least Mace ain't in the same. I wish they would change the name. But as far as Mace no longer having like the face paint and being like some retribution tribal character thing, whatever, I don't even know what it was supposed to be. That's kind of cool that he's not the same Mace anymore. But prior to the next Friday Night SmackDown, Knight appeared in a suit with Mace also wearing a suit, as you see here. He cut a promo prior to the match saying that he was creating Knight model management. And his first client was Mace. Hopefully, this doesn't mean that LA Knight is just the main roster's version of Robert Stone. Like he said, he's starting Knight model management, which is very similar to the Robert Stone brand. You know what I mean? Mace then took on Eric of the Viking Raiders and beat him with a leg lariat. Cool. I mean, okay. I don't really know much more to say about this, but other than, yeah, LA Knight is now the manager of Mace, and I guess he's going to have his own little faction here called the Knight Model Management. He's creating Knight Model Management. And to me, it sounds like Robert Stone brand for the main roster. That's all. Yeah. So we'll see where this leads to, but I don't have too much faith in this. Like, I get it. He's a great talker and all, but he's also not a bad wrestler. I like watching LA Knight wrestle. I've always been a fan of LA Knight, or when he was Eli Drake. Always been a fan of him, especially on the mic, but even in the ring, wrestling. So hopefully this isn't a full-on, you're never going to wrestle again while you're in WWE thing, and he can eventually wrestle as well. As far as SmackDown does go, the recap, the Usos showing up on Raw here tonight. Well, they opened the show by recapping the Usos showing up on Raw, challenging RK Bro, and defeating the Street Profits. They also showed that after the match, the Usos knocked out Randy Orton with a double super kick. So the show opened up with a good segment, and it was RK Bro. Fans loved RK Bro, in particular Randy Orton, and both teams were good in this opener. Raw Tag Team Champions made their way to the ring, and the crowd broke out into a loud Randy chant. Riddle's excited to be back on SmackDown with his best friend, Randy. Orton noted that the Usos showed up in their ring last Monday, so he's here in their ring, and he's calling them out. Usos' music hit, and they come down to the ring. The Usos demanded to know RK Bro's answer to their challenge. They bragged about their accomplishments and demanded RK Bro leave the ring. Orton then mocked the Usos and noted that he knows their family well. He shared the locker room with their uncles and cousins. He respects their family, but not them. RK Bro then accepted the challenge to face them in the middle of the ring. The Usos left the ring and RK Bro posed in the corners. The Usos then ran back and attacked Riddle as he posed. This then set up... Well, actually, we'll talk about that in a second. So, we go to the back, and Naomi and Sasha are laughing at the guys trying to unify the tag team titles. What? Why are they laughing? Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan approach, and I go, oh yeah, Liv Morgan. Rhea Ripley's back. Good to see Rhea's back after, I guess you could say, having a spat with COVID, maybe. They said she was under protocol, which means COVID. Naomi and Banks mocked Ripley and Morgan. Like, is Sasha and Naomi the heels? Came off it here. Back from a commercial break, Orton and Riddle approached Adam Pearce in his office. They demanded the unification match with the Usos, but Pearce said management is still trying to make that decision. Aren't you management? Are you management, or are you the gopher? That's not the right word. That's not the right term. Are you management, or are you just the guy that, oh, hey, management makes all the decisions, and then I go on TV and smile and go, Vince McMahon wants me to tell you this. You know, John Laurinaitis said, Bruce Pritchard has made this match. What it seems like. Especially when he's always like, I got to talk to management. And then we got Sonya Deville over here going, I'll book myself in a title match. Like, what? Huh? And Pearce then said, you know what I can tell you? Tonight, it'll be Riddle versus Jimmy Uso. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Then we had Rhea Ripley taking on Naomi. Match was pretty good. Good back and forth match that I felt like really did its job as far as like starting good. So usually it starts good, middle ramps up, and then the end is really good. But this is kind of like started good, kept good, and then really got good at the end. Didn't really have like a middle, it felt like. It just had like a good start and then an end. But it went 8.5, almost 9 minutes. Ripley had the early advantage with a shoulder tackle. She slowed down the pace and worked over Naomi's arm before Ripley toyed with Naomi. Naomi briefly fought back and sent Ripley to the floor with the head scissors. Ripley gained control and climbed to the top rope. Naomi recovered and rocked Ripley with a kick to the head. Ripley avoided a sliding drop kick and destroyed Naomi with a clothesline. After a commercial break, Naomi fought back with a scissors kick and a flying crossbody for a near fall. Naomi tried to slow down the pace with a full Nelson, but Ripley broke free and hit a Northern Lights suplex for a close near fall. Ripley then climbed to the top rope again, but Naomi cut her off once again. Ripley fought back and attempted the riptide, but Naomi broke free. Ripley then hit a missile drop kick for another close two. Naomi recovered with a kick off the middle rope and a sit-out full Nelson bomb for a near fall. Ripley then fought back and hit the riptide to pick up the victory. Now remember, Banks and Naomi will be defending those women's tag team titles Monday against Ripley and Morgan on Raw. So in the back, Kayla Braxton tried to interview the Usos, but they kind of ignored her and went into Roman's locker room pretending like Roman was there. Because you hear, they open the door, they walk in and you hear them go, "Oh, Oos, what up, Oos, Oos?" But we never actually see Roman. Closest thing to Roman Reigns is we saw his name on the door. Very interesting. They made us think Roman was there. I don't know if anything happened after the show, maybe with Roman or anything, but he didn't appear on SmackDown at all. As we move forward, they recapped Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss splitting up. In the back, Megan Morant interviewed the newly single Happy Corbin. Called Moss as Gopher and Lackey. At first, he was funny, but then he dragged Corbin down. Said if it wasn't for Moss, he'd still be undefeated. He would have beat Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Corbin's happy to get rid of Moss and expects Moss to fail on his own. Then Michael Cole lets us know that there's a member of the SmackDown roster who's actually going to try out to be a broadcaster. He wants to be part of the broadcast team here on SmackDown as they send it to Drew Gulak. So Drew Gulak interviews Madcap Moss in the back, and I don't know if he was supposed to be bad on purpose, but he was very stiff here. He came off really nervous. Just like, I got lines, I'm going to deliver them. They told me just to be Madcap Moss. So you're no longer with Happy Corbin. What is next for you as you are now on your own? I'm like, oh. He said he's finally glad to be off from Corbin. He said that he told bad jokes because, you always play to your audience, and his audience was one big doofus. He apologized for all those bad jokes and promised, next, he's going to defeat Humberto. 2 out of 2.5 minute match. It was Madcap Moss versus Humberto. Match was short and good while it lasted. I mean, nothing to complain about other than length. Humberto jumped Moss right at the bell after a distraction from Angel. Humberto was firmly in control and slowed down the pace with a chin lock. Humberto broke free, but Moss hit a fallaway slam. Moss took out Angel with a shoulder tackle, which was actually a really cool move. So he goes to, Humberto's in the corner. He goes to run at Humberto with a shoulder tackle. For some reason, Angel had jumped up on the apron. Humberto moved, and then he knocks into Angel, who was standing up on the apron right at the corner. I was like, oh, that was kind of clever little spot there. Moss then rocks Humberto with a shoulder tackle in the corner and punched him, hit the punchline to pick up the victory. After the match, Angel yelled at Humberto for losing to a joke. Moss then kissed the Andre the Giant trophy. We also learned that next week it will be, we learned later, but I'll say it now. We learned Moss will be taking on Angel next week. Oh, also they made jokes about the kiss cam. Whatever. In the back, Charlotte Flair approached Adam Pearce and demanded to know who authorized the match with Rousey at WrestleMania Backlash. Flair is furious when Drew Gulak would come and interrupt. Gulak wanted to know how he did in his tryout. Flair was even more furious than Gulak kept interrupting. He told him, you know what? You want to interview a real star? Go interview me in the ring. I'll be out there in a minute. We had a Charlotte Flair segment here that was just not good. This was not good at all. I don't know what this Gulak shit is leading to. But Drew Gulak, he introduces Charlotte Flair. He does the wrestler intro. Charlotte Flair! And he's like all over the top or whatever. And McAfee was hilarious on commentary, sarcastically praising Gulak. And then at one point, he's like, this man's going to win a Pulitzer Prize. And then for some reason, at one point, Cole goes, the one thing Gulak needs to learn is always listen to his producer. And I'm like, why? Did he do something wrong? What did his producer tell him that he didn't do right? Who's his producer? What? Huh? That made no sense. I mean, I get what the comment is, but in context, it made no sense. Like, I understand what always listen to your producer means as far as, like, broadcasting. But in context for here, with no actual extra, like, info on why he said that, it just didn't make sense. So Gulak said, why did you not want to take the match with Ronda Rousey. But then no. He said something along the lines of, why did you deny Ronda Rousey the I Quit match when she challenged you? Now, what are your thoughts to the match being made by WWE officials or whatever? And she goes, she wondered if, he also said he wondered if Flair was worried about Ronda's, he wondered if Flair was also worried about Ronda's submission game because she tapped out at WrestleMania. He said if the referee wasn't distracted or knocked down, you would have lost. And fucking Charlotte goes, I was adjusting my bra. And then she walks around the ring. I was adjusting my bra. And then she walks around the ring. I was adjusting my bra. And I'm like, what? We know you had to adjust your bra about 4 times when your boobs popped out. But that's not when you tapped. Your boobs popped out when you were laying in the corner. Full on tit, just full right on the hard cam. Anyways, fans started chanting, you tapped out. She denied it. Gulak noted that Rousey would be standing here as the champ after WrestleMania. Could have. Should have. Flair became enraged and mocked Gulak. She says, what are you even doing here? You quit as a competitor to do interviews? I don't quit. I'm not a quitter like all these people here. They quit going to the gym. They quit their relationships. They quit their jobs. Flair bragged about being a winner and yelled at Gulak, get out of my ring. As Gulak went to walk away, she hit him with a chop block and put him in the figure 8. Gulak immediately started screaming in pain and started tapping out. Flair then grabbed him and slapped him across the face and said, yes, say it, I quit. Say I quit. And Gulak didn't want to say it at first. She's like, say I quit. She slapped him again. He said, I quit. She kept the hold on. And he's like, I quit. He starts tapping even more, and then they pull him off. And I was like, oh, that was no good. That was no good at all. In the back, Ludwig Kaiser praised Gunther as they showed clips of Gunther destroying people. Gunther then promised that everybody would obey. Okay. So yeah, Drew McIntyre against Sami Zayn in a 3-minute match, sub 3-minute match. Didn't even go 3 minutes. And it yet again ended in countout. Now, when it ended in countout, at first, there's not much to talk about. Sami tried to run off at one point. Drew stopped and pulled him back in the ring. He then ran off, and the match ended in countout. So when it first ends in countout, I go, oh, again? Really? But what they announced later, it all ends up making sense. So after the match, there's not much to really talk about. It's a 3-minute match. McIntyre hit a couple belly-to-bellies and a Glasgow kiss. Went for the Claymore, and Sami ran off. Sami runs off up the stairs in the crowd and whatever. Drew chases after him, but then once Sami runs out into the concourse area, Drew just goes, screw it. I ain't running out there. He ain't worth it. But we do learn later in the night, next week, they're facing in a lumberjack match, so Sami can't run away. Sami jumps out of the ring, and then thrown right back in. So in the back, Kayla Braxton interviewed Ricochet. He noted that Mahal looks mean and imposing, but he's got more talent. He will successfully defend his title. He promised that the title ain't going anywhere tonight. Back from the break, Pierce was furious that Zayn ran away again, and this is when he announced the lumberjack match. Then we had a 3-minute match that, hey, I could say it was a Jinder Mahal match, that nothing wrong happened. This was a fine to good match. Ricochet, it was honestly exactly what they needed. They kept hyping up that Jinder Mahal was a former WWE champion, and Ricochet got to look good against it's Jinder Mahal, but a former WWE champion. This was a showcase match for Ricochet, and it wasn't just against a rando. I mean, some say Jinder's a rando, but it wasn't like he fought Shanky. No, he took on Jinder. So someone with some sort of a name. So I did like that. And the match, wasn't bad. Mahal did have the early advantage as he slowed down the pace with a chin lock. He backed Ricochet into the corner and beat him down. Ricochet did fight back and hit a springboard flying crossbody. He followed this up with a standing moonsault for a near fall. Mahal went for the Colossus, but Ricochet broke free. He then hit the recoil and climbed to the top rope. Shanky pulled Mahal out of the ring before he can go for what we thought would be a 630, No. Ricochet then changed direction, still up on the top rope, and hit a huge flying cross body to both Mahal and Shanky on the floor. Mahal was then thrown back into the ring. Ricochet then hit the shooting star press, which was different. We'll talk about that in a second. And picked up the victory, retaining the belt. Ricochet looked great. And Ricochet with that IC title, it fits. It looks great on him. Him as the IC champion, I love it. But he's got a new move. New finish. Didn't do the 630. He won with a shooting star press, which is very interesting. Neil says, you forget he's former U.S. champion. No, I don't forget it. I think Ricochet as your, I don't want to say the word mid-card, but your mid-card champion actually is great. I don't ever see them pushing him main event level. You make him like the top of the mid-card, and he's always in the mix now. Keep him always in that mix, whether he loses the title or remains the champion. Always keep him in that top tier, upper mid-card mix. But doing the shooting star, interesting. He was off slightly. He needs to pull his opponent closer just a little bit. But regardless, no word on why they changed the finisher. But maybe that's going to be his new finisher going forward, the shooting star press. I know one thing with the shooting stars, they did the Montez Ford thing where they're like, oh my God, look how high up in the air he got. So maybe it's easier for him to get high with a shooting star than it is with a 630. That's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, he does need to work on the shooting star a little bit because, like, say my two fingers are Jinder and like this finger is him. He comes up for the shooting star and he lands it. Oh, there's a little finger. He does the shooting star. Oh, actually, hold on. No. I'm gonna do it here. Take Naito and Zack Sabre Jr. Naito is Jinder. Zack Sabre Jr. is Ricochet. And Ricochet is the shooting star. And instead of landing belly on belly, he went shooting star, kind of more shoulders, head on the belly. So off a little bit, but hey, I don't know how many times he's done a shooting star recently, so maybe he just got to work at it. It's Ricochet. He'll get it down. No problem. In the back, Mega Morant interviewed Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch. Mega Morant noted that they had some problems last week. To recap, Butch fighting with Sheamus and Holland after losing to Xavier Woods. Sheamus denied them having any problems. Also, during this, when they were talking about the stuff from last week, God save Pat. Pat literally called Butch the rabid Wolverine. They were talking about, when he lost his match to Xavier Woods last week, and they started beating up on Sheamus and Holland, and he said, Butch, the rabid Wolverine. And I go, oh no, Pat, did you just, oh no, Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee literally called Butch the rabid Wolverine. Yeah, okay. But anyways, Holland and Sheamus pumped up Butch and said, hey, that's nothing. We don't have any problems. That's like a normal day at home when we're fighting for the remote. So also, we were supposed to think that these three are roommates. Anyways. Sheamus then kept talking. Butch walked off. And then Holland goes, Sheamus, we lost Butch. We've lost Butch. And Sheamus was like, how can you lose him? Where did he go? And then they scampered off. We then got tonight's classic SmackDown moment. And it's the same classic SmackDown moment they always do. One of two. There's always two classic SmackDown moments. And it's either Brock and Big Show breaking the ring or John Cena's on-screen debut. And it was John Cena's on-screen debut, June 27th, 2002. Whenever they do these, and they don't do them often, it's a classic SmackDown moment. Okay, cool. Remember back in the day, we used to always get, like, we'd coming up on a pay-per-view, like we'd coming up on the Backlash, and we would get a classic Backlash moment, or we get Raw, classic Raw moment. We'd always get these, especially like leading up to Mania. They always do the WrestleMania Rewind moment. They don't do that much anymore, which I think they should. It's always a cool little 90-second spot. A, it's a time filler, and B, cool. So in the back, New Day were signing merchandise when Butch attacked Xavier Woods. They had a pull-apart brawl until officials broke it up. We then got part 2 of Lacey Evans' story. Lacey Evans continued her emotional story of her life. After her mother ran, her father eventually found them. The anger in the house grew. She was working by this time. By the time she was in middle school, her father was an angry man that flipped over tables. They had to clean up messes and broken tables and broken glass. Eventually, her father went out on the run from the law. He took the family with him. Evans learned never to give up and keep your head high. She wasn't handed anything in life. She works hard and is comfortable because she knows what it's like to be at rock bottom. She said there's nothing the roster can do to stop her, knock her down. She mentioned being a daughter, a mother, a U.S. Marine, and now a WWE superstar. She said, I'm no better than any of them women in the back, but I know what struggle is, and I know how to fight from the bottom. Something like that. Cool. Then we got just a god-awful segment. In the back, Natalya and Shayna are watching this. And Natalya noted that, there's no more respect here for legends like me and you, Shayna. And I go, wait, legends like Shayna Baszler? What? And I'm like, okay, hold on. I'm going to look something up here real fast. I think if I'm thinking correctly, let's see, 2016. I mean, technically you could say, no, not even that. I mean, yeah, Shayna started, well, no, hold on, let me look up. And then let's look up really quick. Okay, so this whole segment was about, first Lacey and then Raquel Gonzalez, or Raquel Rodriguez. Well, so they call Shayna a legend. Shayna started wrestling in 2015 and didn't sign with WWE to 2017. Well, Lacey Evans actually started wrestling in 2014 and signed with WWE in 2016, a year before Shayna Baszler. Raquel Gonzalez started wrestling in 2016. Actually, no, she started wrestling in 2014 and signed with WWE in 2016. So it's like all these women basically started around the same time. And I get it, they're new to the brand, even though Lacey's been on the main roster for a while. But to say, we're the legends, we're the locker room legends or whatever, it's like, no, not really. I mean, Natty, yeah. But not Shayna. Then they bitch and moan about, I got this new girl here. She's got all her clothes everywhere and this and that and da-da-da. And then all of a sudden Raquel's just standing there or sitting there listening to them bitch about her. And she's like, hi, I'm Raquel Rodriguez, the new girl. And she tries to introduce herself, and she bulks up to Natty, and Natty's like, Shannon, let's get out of here. And they walk off. This is so bad, so dumb. Like, what? Huh? Lord says, did you see the Roxanne Perez debut on NXT Level Up tonight? How could I? I've been reviewing this show. I've been doing this podcast. That was placed on after SmackDown. Anyways, so that was a bad segment. Then we moved to a really good match. It was Riddle versus Jimmy Uso in the main event. Match went 9 minutes. Riddle and Jimmy Uso had a really good match as Riddle went for the RKO early on, and Jimmy slipped out of it. Riddle chased him around ringside, but Jimmy took over as they got back into the ring. Jimmy slowed down the pace with a chin lock, and Riddle broke free and caught Jimmy with a kick. He sent Jimmy to the floor with a suplex, and Jimmy recovered and grabbed Riddle's leg and dropped him on the apron. Jimmy then threw Riddle into the barricade and then rocked Riddle with a super kick and sent him over the barricade. After a commercial break, Riddle regained control with a forearm in the corner and a suplex. He missed a running knee, but hit a senton. Riddle went for the floating bro, but Jimmy got his knees up. Jimmy followed this up with a pop-up Samoan drop for a close near fall. Jay then got in Orton's face at ringside. Jimmy took advantage and took out Orton with a drop kick. Jimmy then rocked Riddle with a super kick and climbed to the top rope. Jimmy went for the splash, but was distracted by Orton and Jay fighting at ringside. Orton at one point gave Jay a back suplex on the announce table, and Riddle then avoided a splash by Jimmy. Then in a very cool spot, Jimmy went for some sort of like pop-up Samoan drop. I guess it was the one where you throw your opponent up, you catch him in the Samoan drop, and go back with it. But instead of Riddle landing on his shoulders, Riddle turns his body in midair, grabs him for an RKO, hits more of a stunner, but still hits him with the cutter, the RKO. This was a really, really cool looking spot. He hits the move. Orton loses his shit and jumps in the ring. Referee holds Orton back for a second. Orton jumps in the ring. He's like, oh, fuck. Orton's losing his damn mind. The referee's like, Randy, don't do anything. Randy backs up into the corner. The ref runs over. 1, 2, 3. I thought the little last 90 seconds there was great. The move itself, as far as Jay going for that pop-up, Riddle turning his body and hitting the cutter, and the way Randy jumps in the ring and was just like, whoa, like going nuts for the move. And yeah, I thought it was really funny. Funny, but great. I thought it was great. So after the match, the tag team champions, the Raw tag team champions, celebrate with their belts, and the show goes off the air. Not a bad SmackDown. I mean, it wasn't great or anything, but it wasn't bad. So with that was Friday Night SmackDown. But now I want to know what you thought of both of these shows. Before we go to the text messages, we're going to check the poll for SmackDown first. As far as the Twitch poll does go, 83% of you liked tonight's SmackDown and 17% didn't. As far as the YouTube poll does, the Twitter poll. 60% liked the show, 28% thought it was just all right, and 10% did not like SmackDown. As far as the YouTube poll does go, 66% didn't like, or 66% liked it. Basically the same. 66% liked it, 28% thought it was just all right, and 6% did not like SmackDown. Yes, Michael Wallace, you can for sure tell how much fun Randy Orton's having right now. Because when Randy Orton hit Jay with the back suplex or the backdrop, whatever, onto the announce table, he lost his shit then too. He started banging on the announce table like, yeah, like Ultimate Warrior flipping out almost. But yeah, very, very, very great little end there to SmackDown. Overall, great night of wrestling for the most part. But with that, now let's go check the text messages, see what you guys thought of both tonight's AEW Rampage and a Friday night SmackDown. Also, it was officially announced, the unification match, WrestleMania Backlash, as we assumed. I have no clue what this question is. I don't even know who they're talking about. Does WWE plan on going back to 2 main titles again? So that was before Mania the plan, but now they're doing more unification stuff, so I don't know. Like, it was the plan to eventually keep this new unified title or whatever on SmackDown and then Raw get another belt. But now they're unifying the tag titles as well. I don't know. I honestly don't know. This person says, this is an interesting one. So I forgot to mention that when the fans were booing Charlotte and doing the "You Tapped Out" stuff, she started doing the "what" chant at the crowd. And I'm like, oh no. They got to her. This isn't good. So Charlotte, this person says, quote, Charlotte is such a consummate unprofessional. They bleep their own stuff. I'm not going to read that word because yeah. I can't believe the audacity of her cheap show. Oh, never mind. This is somebody that thinks that this is all real and not storylines like it is. Never mind. This is somebody that thinks it's real or is just trying too hard to play along. I'm not even going to read that. I'm not even reading that. It says, when it comes to Sami Zayn running away, how come they always book a lumberjack match when superstars leave instead of falls count anywhere? Because the whole point is Drew doesn't want to. We saw it. Drew chased Sami up the stairs, but once Sami ran out, Drew didn't want to chase him anymore. So maybe it's the fact of you don't want to chase your opponent. You want to wrestle him in the ring. What's a better way to keep him in the ring? You either do cage match, Hell in a Cell, or lumberjack. So maybe it's just a fact of Drew doesn't want to chase him around the building. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but there's a simple explanation. Versus, I like SmackDown more than AEW Rampage. I tell you something funny about SmackDown. When Riddle hit Jimmy Uso with the RKO. I fall like Randy Orton, proud father, when Riddle it. What? I fall like Randy Orton, proud father, when Riddle it. All right, I'm done with this one. I say, you guys can't write proper sentences. My brain ain't going to be able to contemplate it. This one says, do you think Gulak will be an announcer now, or was it just a Charlotte angle? Honestly, I think it's just for the Charlotte angle. And they didn't have anybody that does interviews that could get attacked. That's all it is, I think. That's all I think it was. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and Twitter.com/PW Unlimited. We got nothing this weekend, so we will be back Monday morning for the wrestling wrap-up. I do apologize I didn't do a wrestling wrap-up this morning. We had an early morning with doing the West Coast Pro Wrestling preview video. Then I had some family stuff I had to take care of, so a busy day for me. But we will be back Monday for the wrestling wrap-up. That's going to be a loaded show, hopefully. And then we'll see you on Monday night for Monday Night Raw. So with that, guys, have a great weekend. I'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys. All right.